Boy, I tell you, there is not one single day that goes by in Canada where there isn't some sort of breaking or trending news. Like, why are these liberal politicians magnets for bad news? It's almost like everything they say is absolute horseshit, and in doing so brings a whole lot of controversy. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage you all to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It does really help grow the channel. We're taking a look at a few different things. By the way, the head of CSIS, our Canadian FBI or CIA, whatever you want to call, that dude resigned. Kind of weird. He was a bit of a microphone for Justin Trudeau. Also, Freeland totally hijacked Canada's Olympic cycling team's press conference. So we're going to be taking a look at that. Again, I did cover that on a live stream that I did. And also, liquor stores in Ontario have gone on strike. So yeah, lots of different things among other smaller stories that we're going to cover. So buckle up. I hope you stay here for the entire duration of the video if you can, because you're not going to want to miss a single beat. Let's take a look at the polls here. Conservatives still at 218 projected seats. Bottom line 184, top end 237. Liberals sitting at a measly 67 seats. And still 99% likely across the board for the Conservatives winning the most seats and of winning a majority government. No changes there. Where we do have changes are, well, this right here. Canadian job numbers. All bad news, and the worst part, it's just the beginning. Unemployment rate rises to 6.4% with negative job creation. Should we assume it will get worse? Yeah, we absolutely must assume that. Maybe much worse, right up to 8%. What could make it better? The only truly dynamic force for new jobs in Canada is government. For the last few years, all levels of government have been hiring enthusiastically. On the private side, what sectors will likely keep shedding jobs? Financials, layoffs will continue to trickle down. Manufacturing, zero growth, with the tiny exception of government-sponsored EV plants. Retail, transport, and services. Construction is the very worst news. This section of the economy is going to experience the biggest drop in employment in nearly 30 years as all new building starts to decline rapidly. And that is horrible news, folks. Absolutely horrible, because we have to build like 10 million homes or 5 million homes in the next 5 years, like absolutely, or the next 10 years, absolutely insane numbers in order to support our population right now. I mean, we need to just snap our fingers and homes need to be built. But unfortunately, we can't do that. And so we need people to do those jobs. But the people that are doing those jobs that's the worst job to have, is construction, because there is a tremendous amount of layoffs. Construction workers are not working, not because they don't want to, but because there's no jobs, which is counterproductive to more houses being built. So we're in this state of what came first, the chicken or the egg. Who's going to make the first move? Or the house is going to be built, or the people going to be hired to build them? It's just this weird catch-22 where, like, when you apply for an entry-level position and they need 10 years experience, you're like, well, I'm supposed to be at this position to get the experience to move on to another position. Nope, sorry, we're only hiring entry-level positions with 10 years experience. It's that weird loophole, right? That's kind of the state of Canada right now. The government needs to do something, and they need to do something fast, or we are absolutely screwed. And don't take my smile as being happy about this. It's more happiness on the side of the collapse of the Liberal government, because they did this. They did this, and they deserve to bear all responsibility for doing this. And unfortunately, Justin Trudeau is leaving Pierre Poilievre with an absolute mess to fix. And I hope that Pierre has the answers. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Next up, we have the LCBO here, which is, for those who may not be aware, it's Ontario, right? When I moved to BC, there is no LCBO. It's just BC Liquor. So I'm pretty sure LCBO is just in Ontario. All LCBO LCBO stores closed as workers go on strike after no deal has been reached. Let's take a look at this video here.
LCBO stores are now closed and thousands of staff are now on strike, marking a first in the Crown Corporation's history.
Let's check back in this morning, check back in right now with Courtney Heels live with more on the sticking points in these negotiations here, Courtney. And, you know, the union is pitching this as a dry summer, but the government keeps pointing out the multitude of options.
Yeah, and I mean, there are other options for people who typically go to the LCBO. For example, if you go to the LCBO to pick up wine, you can still go to the wine shop. Those stores still open. You can pick up wine in the grocery store. But when it comes to specifics, and even I heard this yesterday, people saying, you know, the knowledge of some of the product, the wines at the LCBO, well, that won't be an option because all of these stores are going to be closed right across the province today and for the next 14 days because the employees are now on strike. We can also tell you this morning, some of those workers are out on the picket lines. They've been out on the picket lines overnight over in Whitby. We had our helicopter over one of the LCBO distribution centers about 15 minutes or so ago, and you can see some of the picket lines set up at the entrances there. Now, what we heard from the LCBO as a result of this strike action, they say that they will continue to fill orders through the warehouses and distribution centers for restaurants and bars. But we've also heard from some of those establishments saying, well, they have concerns that picket lines could still slow things down. When it comes to the actual negotiations, the union that is, OPSU, representing these employees, and the LCBO, they've been talking for several months now, but the talks broke down yesterday. The union saying they didn't feel like they were making any progress. That's why they decided to walk away. And a big sticking point here is the fact that the province is planning to expand alcohol sales into convenience stores and other locations later on this year as of September. The union saying that certainly raises questions when it comes to job stability. I'll let you hear from OPSU talking about the impact here of this strike going forward.
We put forward a plan that would see the LCBO grow with Ontario so that our public revenues grow too. We told Premier Ford he was welcome to our bargaining table and to avoid a dry summer by making a fair offer. We see the writing on the wall. Under Ford's plan, we could lose thousands of jobs and millions of dollars in public revenues. We said that to the employer, and you know what they said back? We can't guarantee your future.
Oy, yeah. So it seems like this level of striking and blackmail is kind of backfiring, and I don't know. There's probably a lot of mixed feelings. A lot of people are probably saying, "Yeah, go get your money, go get your raise." Other people are probably saying, "No, just stay and work and do your job." But I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you support the strike? Do you not support the strike? Let me know why. Now, in a bit of a twist in non-Canadian news, we have something to worry about, I suppose. The new UK Prime Minister says our country needs a bigger reset. The World Economic Forum gets what the World Economic Forum wants. And this is from Ezra Levant, who is in the UK right now to cover or to have covered this election that has just happened. Let's take a look at this video.
It's surely clear to everyone that our country needs a bigger reset, a rediscovery of who we are, because no matter how fierce the storms of history, one of the great strengths of this nation has always been our ability to navigate a way to calmer waters.
So there's a lot of shifts happening in the world right now. You have in Europe, a lot of elections are spawning, and you see these like right-wing kind of parties that are getting in power. And then you have also these corrupt politicians by the World Economic Forum that are getting in power elsewhere. And it's kind of a tit for tat move, but we're going to have to wait and see how this affects, things on the global level. Next up, we have some very interesting news. The director of CSIS, David Vigneault, announces his resignation. So a statement from David, director of Canadian Security Intelligence. Today on America Day, July 4th, I announced that I will be stepping down from the position as director of CSIS, and I will be leaving the public service. It has been a privilege for me to serve as director of CSIS for the last 7 years and to have spent almost 2 decades in the public service. I'm extremely proud of the work that my team and I have accomplished in recent years at CSIS, bringing the organization out of the shadows and shedding light on the important and valuable role we play in protecting Canadians against foreign interference. And threats to national security. This has been one of the most challenging and rewarding period in my career. As CSIS celebrates its 40th anniversary on the 16th of July, and as an organization, yada, 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 yada. So kind of crazy that that he's resigning, and there is some speculation. There are some conspiracy theories as to maybe he wasn't giving Trudeau what he wants, and so there was some political pressure behind closed doors for him to resign. But let me know what you guys think down below. It is kind of crazy because his message was aligned with Justin Trudeau, but you did have CSIS reports that kind of contradicted what Justin Trudeau was saying, and then Trudeau on national broadcasts used his platform to bash CSIS and say that their reports were not right, if I remember correctly. So kind of interesting how the moment he starts to go against Justin Trudeau, he ends up stepping down. But let me know what you guys think about that one. Next up, you have a bit of a breaking news here. Brenda Shanahan, the Liberal Party's caucus chair, told MPs a full caucus meeting is impossible this summer due to scheduling logistics, despite requests from parliamentarians after a shocking by-election loss in Toronto St. Paul. And this has over 250,000 views, which is absolutely insane. And you have some of the top comments here saying pathetic that the most important job in the country only works for 5 months out of the year. That is kind of crazy. Like, it's the job of government to do things, and just because it's summertime doesn't mean that you stop doing things. I mean, Trudeau was out campaigning, albeit he did cancel his attendance at the Calgary Stampede, which is unusual since every prime minister pretty much ever goes to every single Stampede. It's like a massive one of Canada's most massivest, biggest events ever. One of the largest outdoor events in the entire world. It's either the largest, second or third largest Stampede in the entire world. But yeah, sure, Trudeau. I'm sure that has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that Alberta hates you, Canadians hate you, and there's a lot of F Trudeau flags and rhetoric in Alberta. I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with that. It's very frustrating that politicians get these insane salaries, get these insane platforms, get these insanely lucrative pensions, and they give themselves summertime off. Like, it's your job to meet and talk about things, and you don't even have to meet in person. These idiots could do it over Zoom or Skype or whatever the hell that they did over the COOF. So why? What's stopping them from all just sitting down? Hey, at 8 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Pacific, let's all join this. Here's the link for the team meeting, the Zoom meeting, and let's all discuss things there. No, they don't want to do that because I don't know. They don't like to do their job, perhaps. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Okay, now we're taking a look at kind of a sad situation. It's funny, but it's also sad. So Canada is, going to the Olympics. The Olympics are happening in a couple or a few weeks. And, that it's in Paris. There's a lot of different Canadian athletes that are going for obviously different sports. Well, Freeland and the Liberals thought it'd be a good idea to go do a press conference with some of these Olympians, and the whole thing just got hijacked. So right now we're going to take a little look here. This is one of the Olympians. I believe he's on a cycling team. This is at a cycling dome. You might be able to see people riding the bicycle from the right side of the screen to the left as this goes on. But this is one of the people that's representing Canada at the Olympics, talking about the Olympics. So let's take a look at this because there's a whole bunch to unravel from this press conference.
And then in 2019, the next consecutive Pan Am Games, I actually knew some of the national team athletes through cycling that were competing, and some of them even came home with medals. And that was a massive inspiration for me because now, I had been invested in cycling for a couple years, and I got to see firsthand through my friends that I knew in the national team where it could get me. And now I've come full circle. I've been to a Pan Am Games where we won a gold medal, and I'm on my way to Paris this summer to compete in the team pursuit, where hopefully we can follow up with another great result.
Okay, so awesome, right? Canada is, going to be competing in the Olympics in a few weeks. Awesome. You're looking at a Olympian right there on screen, right? This guy right here. So this whole meeting was about the Liberals giving more funding to sports, right? That was the whole thing. And they gave away $35 million in one lump sum and then an additional $15 million for separate things, for a total of $50 million of taxpayers' money going towards helping not not athletes like around Canada, not like sporting events and things like that. No. It helped under 2,000 individual athletes. In fact, 1,800 athletes. That's how much $50 million helps in Canada. Is $50 million helps 1,800 athletes. But that's not even the worst part. So after the announcement of the $50 million to the 1,800 athletes, then you had the Olympians going, thank you very much, government. We're so excited to be, going and representing Canada in Paris at the Olympics. We've been training our entire lives, blah, 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 blah. Then it's a huge thing, right? Like Olympians are like, wow, that's awesome. You've trained your entire life. You sacrificed so much. You've given so much. They make movies. They got those miracle sports movies about Olympians, right? Like, it's awesome, right? It's totally, totally awesome. And usually the world comes together and watches the Olympics because it's like every 4 years, it's a celebration, and you're competing against different countries. Every 2 years or 4 years, whatever. It flip-flops, right? That's almost how irrelevant the Olympics have become, is I forget. I used to watch the Olympics all the time, but I forget now. And I didn't even know the Olympics was happening in Paris until I saw this press conference. I was like, oh, wow, it's here. And this might be the first time that you're hearing that the Olympics are right around the corner. So somewhere along the line, the Olympics became a little bit less relevant than it once was. And that happens, right? Society changes. Everyone now is less focused on sports and more focused on, their countries imploding from the inside from corrupt governments, like here in Canada and also in America. But that's not even the worst part. So the reporters get together and they make this press conference about the Olympians, right? Tell us your story. Tell us, thank the government for giving us the money. And then it comes time for questions and answers. The reporters are to ask questions to, you would think, the Olympians. How do you feel about representing Canada? Are you excited? Were you scheduled to go to the Olympics during the COOF and that didn't happen? So now you're kind of making up for it. Like, what's going on? Tell us about your Olympic trials and tribulations. But it wasn't about that at all. In fact, that wasn't even mentioned once. Double, in fact, the reporters didn't even address the Olympians at all. In fact, it had absolutely nothing to do with the Olympics, the Olympians, or anything of the sorts. It had to do with, you guessed it, the failing Liberal government. The only questions that were asked during this entire press conference were from the reporters to Chrystia Freeland. Why does your government suck? What are you going to do about it? Why aren't you guys meeting? When are you going to resign? When is Justin Trudeau going to resign? And instead of hearing me bitch about it and explain about it, we're actually going to listen to it because it's so embarrassing. Honestly, I feel bad. I tremendously feel bad because I was an athlete growing up. I was never an Olympic athlete, and I don't think I ever really had a shot at going to the Olympics. Maybe if I gave my time and my energy and devoted my entire livelihood to, my sport, then possibly, but who knows? I'll never know, and I don't even want to entertain that. The fact is, these people have put in so much time and energy into crafting their sport and becoming, the best of the best. And that gets put into the shadow by our failing Liberal government. And I just wanted to hyper-focus on our Olympic athletes for a second, because now we're going to be taking a look at our failing Liberal government. So let's take a look at Freeland. Just get absolutely blasted by the reporters.
Laura Stone, Globe and Mail, Deputy Prime Minister. I wanted to ask you, it's our understanding that you hosted some Toronto MPs at your home last night. Can you outline for us how that came about, what they wanted to talk to you about, and how you addressed their concerns about the fallout from the St. Paul's by-election?
So I would say that's not entirely accurate. John McKay is the chair of the 416 caucus, and he chaired an in-person meeting of some 416 caucus members. I offered my backyard because it's in a central location. So we did have a meeting. John chaired it. I think it was a really, really valuable opportunity for us to talk with each other, to talk about the results of the by-election, to talk about what they mean, to talk about hearing what Canadians are telling us, and to talk about working really, really hard to do a better job of delivering for Canadians on the things that they need, on housing, on affordability, on economic growth, and doing it all in a fiscally responsible way, so that interest rates can continue to come down.
Excuse me, and can you address the calls for change that are coming from some prominent Liberals who say, following that by-election, something significant needs to happen? The leader needs to change, some sort of policy development needs to happen. There needs to be a symbol that the party is listening to the results, and there has to be a reaction to that. Do you think that that your government needs to make a significant change here?
The Prime Minister has my full support. I know he has the full support of Cabinet, and I know he has the full support of the vast majority of Liberal MPs. The people of Toronto St. Paul's did send us a message, and it is absolutely incumbent on us to hear that message. That message was, things are hard. Life is really challenging right now. And you, our government, need to do a better job delivering for us on the things that matter in our lives. You need to do a better job making life easier for us. And I think we are collectively absolutely committed to doing that. We are committed to delivering on housing, getting more homes built faster in Toronto, in Milton, across the country. We are committed to delivering on making life more affordable for Canadians. We're talking today about making life more affordable for our brilliant Olympian athletes, but we also need to make life more affordable for families with kids, with things like early learning and childcare. We need to make life more affordable by delivering dental care, by delivering pharmacare. We need to do that. We need to make life better for Canadians by delivering economic growth, by investing in jobs and growth. And we need to do it all in a fiscally responsible way so that interest rates can come down, because we recognize that interest rates have started to come down. That is really good news. But high interest rates are still a real burden on people across the country. So, yeah, Canadians, people in Toronto St. Paul's, they sent us a message. They said, work harder, deliver for us. Things are hard for us. We expect you to work hard and deliver results and make things easier. And that's what we are totally committed to doing.
Totally committed. We're totally committed to doing that. Look, she's still not getting the message. The message is, you suck. You aren't good at your job. It's not really so much about doing better. It's that you have failed. Like, past tense. You have already failed. It's not about redeeming yourself. You've had 9 years and you have tremendously failed. A juice box water bottle thingy could do a better job at running this country than Justin Trudeau and these failed Liberal MPs. Again, it's horrible. They're not getting the message. It's in one ear and it just goes out the other. It doesn't process in their brain. It's horrible, man. People are tired of this. They're absolutely tired. And why not just apologize? Why not say, I'm sorry. We're sorry. The Liberals are very sorry for doing this. We understand that we have made things drastically worse, right? We've made calculated decisions and they haven't worked. We've been greedy and it hasn't worked. And we hear you and we apologize. And, we're going to call an election to see what you guys really want, and then we're going to stay true to that no matter what the decision is. That would be a phenomenal answer. And a lot of people would actually be like, wow, these are honorable people. It's in the name, the Honorable Prime Minister of Canada. But no, they have no honor at all. Again, I just want to highlight how ridiculous this entire interview is. Like, not once was any questions directed about the Olympics, the Olympic athletes, or any of the funding. It's all about Freeland. And as you're going to see right now, I'm going to hit play and the reporter's going to ask one more or multiple more questions. But the next question, again, it's going to Freeland.
Kurt Brownwich, Global News, also for the Deputy Prime Minister. If you could approach the podium again and just make sure my framing is okay here.
I appreciate it.
How concerned are you about U.S. retaliation on Canadian companies due to the digital services tax?
And every question for the remainder of this entire press conference is directed towards Chrystia Freeland. Not even really Marcy. right, who's next to her. It's all about Freeland. And that's how bad they are doing. You could have the most tremendous miracle event that has happened, and the Liberals go, yeah, no, we want to interview you, and we want to do it on a broadcast right now. Let's go, reporters, CBC, Global, CTV, everyone show up. Let's tell this person's story of this miraculous event. And once that person is done telling their story, whatever it is, and it's time for the reporters to ask questions, it still won't be directed towards the miracle person or miracle event. It'll be directed towards the failing government. And that's how you know you've lost, is when no matter what else happens around you, next to you, near you, it doesn't matter. No matter what else happens in the world, the questions are all, what are you going to do to fix the mistake that you have made? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? That, ladies and gentlemen, is where we're going to end this video. And I would absolutely love to know what you guys have to say or think down below in the comments. Personally, I believe that we're playing out the clock right now. I don't know if this next scheduled federal election, if that we're going to be running all the way. We're going to run that road till we hit the dead end at the end of 2025. I do think that this summer is, you're going to see a lot of changes. You're going to see a lot of Liberal shuffling. And if that is the case, then we might see a fall election, right? Because with some changes, some change of pace, you're going to see the rhetoric maybe shift a little bit if they do shuffle around the cabinet, and then they might try to do an early election so that they can ride the momentum of any changes that they make and hope that they're positive enough for an election to happen. Because if they go the full distance, right, if they do go the next 16 months or however long it is, then there's a lot of runway for failure from the Liberals. And so the sooner the election, the better for all of Canada. But let me know if you guys agree with that. On your way out, I would like to encourage you guys to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Enjoy your Friday afternoon. Bye for now.